I'm back, I'm good and rude, back again and I'm in a mood. Yes, I'm here and I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to rip the Michael out of Pat the profiler, because she's back, isn't she? Pat knows everything about everything. If you want to know anything, all you need to do is come onto her channel and she will tell you everything about herself. And somewhere in there, you will find out whatever it is you want to know. I mean, don't quote me on it, but some BS like that anyway. So anyway, Pat the profiler, she is imagining, because she's in America and obviously, you know, she's got psychic powers, Spidey vibes, isn't she? And she can tell that Lucy Letby, you know, the illiterate narcissist, there's quite a few illiterate narcissists about nowadays, isn't there? Yes, it's alliteration of the highest order. Yes, the Lucy Letby has indeed got Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Even though unknown to her, it's been widely reported that she was seen by a number of mental health and psychiatric specialists, all of whom said that she wasn't suffering from Munchausen's syndrome by proxy. Well, she wasn't suffering, she was quite enjoying herself from what we can make out. Yeah. But apparently she was, cleared of it. But no, Pat the profiler says she's got it. And she knows because she's in America and obviously everything's bigger and better in America, and it got bigger roads, bigger cars, everything. Yeah, they supersize everything. So, yeah, should we listen to Pat? Yes, she's worth listening to, because Pat the profiler, do you think she's married to Postman Pat? Because they'd be illiterate. They'd be a double-barreled alliteration, no doubt, View 2 first. They would be. Come on, Pat. Tell us a story.
We don't like him.
Oh, you don't?
We're like, he's a serial killer.
Oh,
but
okay.
When it comes to her, it's like, maybe she has some problems. I don't know why she killed the babies. Because she's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Now.
Well, I'm not sure I do understand, but anyway, I think you're going to tell us, so let's just listen. Come on, Pat.
Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Yes.
Are not actually.
No.
Diseases.
No. I thought they'd give you boils on your bum or something. What? You're saying Munchausen syndrome by proxy and you don't get no boils? Well, you're dead right. That's not a disease at all, is it?
No, Munchausen syndrome, that's a person who does things to themselves to bring attention to themselves, or they lie about things that we all know the Sherry Papini case by now, that she was kidnapped, but she wasn't. But she wanted that attention. Yeah. And she brought that attention.
Well, Sherry Papini just went and had something behind her boyfriend's back. I mean, on a low level, I'm sure even people watching this know some bint that's done that. But obviously without the, without the publicity Sherry Papini got. Because as I say, everything's bigger and better in America. I mean, I know an old tart that did that, She went off with some other bloke after leaving the nightclub, spent the night with him, went back the next morning and said, I got myself the R word with an A and a P and an E and a D in it. I did! And the police were called. It was all a load of BS. It happens like too many times in society. Some women are just bleeding mental, screw loose. If you want a bit of how's your father, go and have it. Don't blimmin' drag everybody else into it. Yes, there's a lot of it about, because it also obfuscates the issue when women really are attacked. And then you get these frauds that go, when really they're just a bit of an old slut, really. Get me? Just admit it.
Munchausen syndrome. And then when you hurt your children to get attention, it's Munchausen syndrome by proxy. But a lot of people think that's a disease, a name of a disease. It's not.
No.
The person who does Munchausen syndrome stuff and Munchausen syndrome by proxy stuff, they are psychopaths. This is psychopathy.
They're psychopaths. Can I cycle my cycle on them? I didn't know that. I just thought they were nutters.
And Munchausen syndrome by proxy is simply a method that they use, a behavior that they exhibit of psychopathy.
Okay.
All right? So serial killers, male serial killers who go raping and murdering women.
Right.
They're psychopaths.
They're psychopaths too.
Who express their psychopathy through raping and murdering.
Yes.
Women often don't use that technique. It's not as useful to them. And they also have different methodologies to get
the difference between a sociopath is they know what they're doing is wrong but do it anyway, but the psychopath doesn't know what they're doing is wrong because they're wired differently. Isn't that the difference between them? And a narcissist is a bit like a sociopath but without the socio bit on it. It's got an arc instead of a socio, something like that. I mean, that's probably right, and if it's not, it should be. It's a gospel according to Gert, you know, on this Sunday sermon, or something or other. Just BS anyway. Come on, Pat.
These groups, male serial killers, female serial killers, want power and control.
Yes.
So, to get power and control...
Yeah, but what about when you get a female serial killer that's towed up with a male serial killer? Do they just tuck into the cornflakes? What happens? We don't know. This is a veritable debacle of Rice Krispies and Sugar Puffs all over the place. It probably is. Nobody's told me. I don't know. I've never met them.
Women often use the people around them.
Do they?
In their normal lives.
Oh, I see.
And this is why female serial killers are often...
Right.
Those who...
Squirrel killers.
Syndrome.
Yes.
Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Yes.
Well, if they're killing, they're not doing Munchausen syndrome because then they'd be dead. But Munchausen syndrome by proxy is where you get the mothers who kill one baby after another baby after another baby. So you have two Munchausen syndrome by proxy type of psychopaths.
Yes.
Those that kill their own children.
Yes.
And those that kill other people's children.
Right.
She's the other people's children type.
I see.
But they're both serial killers.
Yes.
All right. So now...
Joe, funny, I thought she was such a nice person. Did you get me capiche? I'm glad you're here, Pat Profiler.
Everybody's looking at her and going, but she's so sweet. And they're calling her through the entire article.
Like chewed up toffee.
She's a vanilla.
Vanilla and beige. She's seen my upload yesterday because I'm the one that called her vanilla, aren't I? Stop copying me, Pat the Profiler. I know what your game is. You're trying to steal my thunder, aren't you? Yes, you are.
Okay.
Vanilla.
She was.
Beige and
she
vanilla.
Exhibited sweetness. She exhibited a non...
She did. It was just people's perception. They looked at her and perceived that. If she had a club foot and a hunchback, you know, what would you perceive then? She might be an absolute diamond, an absolute angel of a woman, but she's got a humpback and she's got a club foot, so nobody really, you know, sees that in her. People perceive what they choose to perceive. You know, at the end of the day, she was demonstrably not a good person at all. And I'm sure if you did know her, you'd have had a feeling that she was crazy, you know. You often do with these types. Well, I do with these types of snooty up their own bleeding selves.
What do you want to call it? She wasn't out there doing drugs. She wasn't betting every bad boy in town.
She'd have probably been a bit more exciting if she had gone out with more men and sort of been a bit more outgoing. Like I said yesterday, there's something sort of pseudo-sexual that was going on in the background for the reason. I mean, yeah, people have said, well, she was trying to get the attention of the male doctor. I think he's called Dr. A in the court case because he's married. I don't know whether he's still married. What do you reckon, VooTubers? Anyway, but he was seeing her behind his missus's back. I think, you know, they had a little thing going on, which was more important to her than it was to him, from what I can gather. Because she's one of these, like I said yesterday, she was emotionally immature, and she was sort of obsessing and crushing on this doctor, wasn't she? Something she should have done when she was 12 or 13, but she seemed to have been arrested emotionally at some point. Probably she stayed, because she was an only child, she was daddy's girl apparently, but she stayed daddy's little good girl right into her mid to late 20s. And there's something sort of sexual drive behind these murders. Obviously that's something I don't know about, but to me, it stinks of it. Yes, it does. I bet you anything that, you know, she got the horn after she did it. She got the emotion. There's something going on more than her just killing the kids to get his attention. That's what I'm trying to say, Gert. There, I'm there. I've got it out. Gertie's there. Yeah, I'm sure she got a stonk on after each one. I'm sure she went home and was really sort of high on the power of it. And yeah, whatever. I don't know. Having never been a serial killer, you know, when I get hold of cereals, I just scram them down my neck. I do. Yes, I do.
She wasn't doing bad things. She was a good girl.
Yeah.
So sweet. So absolutely sweet.
Bullshit.
And that's how she manipulates. And I saw this article and nobody had anything bad to say about her. And I'm thinking it's because she played every one of you. You didn't
Well, it's not that people had anything bad to say about her. They also didn't have anything good to say about her. She was just one of those people that got by, which is probably why she... Like I said, she didn't interact normally for a girl of her age. I mean, by the time she was in her mid-20s, you'd have thought she'd have had a few love affairs by then. She seemed to have had none. She was still sort of schoolgirl crushing on this doctor bloke, wasn't she? Who was playing her for a bleeding whatnot. He was playing it like a bleeding fiddle. But she was probably playing him as well. She's like, oh, look at me, I've got the illest babies. Oh, I'm the hero, I saved them. Or, oh, I tried my best to save them, but unfortunately they died. Pity me, pity me, pity me. And there was, like I said, it doesn't sort of unpack properly if you just think of it from that point of view. There's got to have been more going on in the background, because she kept trophies, like she took the paperwork home. She was up to a year later searching up on Facebook for the bereaved parents, for the mum's name, the dad's name. I think there was some sort of redirected sexual drive going on there. I do! Can't help myself. Either way, she'll be in prison for the rest of her life, so she can think about it in there, can't she? Yes, they can.
The manipulation.
Yeah.
If I could get over there and interview all those friends and family.
She'll probably get a load of crazy men that'll fall in love with her in prison, you know, like a lot of these serial killers do, don't they? They get banged rights, put in prison, and then next thing you know, quick as a flash, they're wanting to marry somebody that's been writing to them, you know, some nutter. They're misunderstood.
Because it doesn't just pop up.
Right.
Look, I'm now working in the hospital with the babies. Suddenly I'm a psychopath. No. The woman has been a psychopath for a very long time. And she's been raised by a family who didn't recognize a psychopathy or even encourage the psychopathy.
Well, I mean, there's another thing. When she was moved off her duties, she was put into the patient safety office or something or other. I mean, you know, the irony of it all. And it was her dad that got onto the management of the hospital and threatened to take it further. He was an accountant. So again, Daddy's little girl, Daddy was stepping in. She was a so-called professional woman in her mid to late 20s, and yet she was still being parented as if she was 12. Do you get me? And that's why the management of the hospital got the consultants to write her letters of apology, because it was her father that had got onto the hospital on her behalf and got her a job back in the baby unit, so they had to have her back in there and got the doctors to write letters. So actually, you know, people saying there's nothing there, but there is. You can very slightly unpick the ends of it and see that it was a shoot storm waiting to happen when it VTubers, yeah. And the frightening thing is how many more of them are there, because the God complex thing is a thing in the National Health Service. All right, not to the extreme of her, but by God, it goes on. You know, there's more than enough nutty people that work in. They're there for the wrong reason, I think is the best way of putting it.
And then her friends.
And certainly,
she picked those friends.
Certainly overrepresented in management as well. Yeah, go on, Pat.
Pick the people who are going to say, hey, wait a minute, you're a lying dog. You're manipulating me. No. She's going to pick the friends who are going to go, okay. And they're not going to see it.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of times when we have serial killers even who...
Yeah, but she was also the first one to report anybody. If anybody did anything slight, apparently they've got a book you write in. Is it a diatic or something? It's an acronym of something, I can't think what it is, but they're bound to, by their code of conduct, if they see something wrong, like somebody's used the wrong this or done the wrong that, or done the procedure in the wrong done the protocol in the wrong procedure, something like that, she was the first one to rush to the book to write it down. So there again, we're seeing something that hasn't been picked up on, you know, so it's very much a redirected, I'm perfect, look at me, look at me, look at me. But really, you know, I think there's somebody else that we know that's a bit like that. Obviously not to the extent of this thing, but...
who made it through high school.
Yeah.
And people thought, oh, they were okay. Well,
and to be fair, she's still stuck in that mode because she's never admitted any of the things she's done. She sat in court like Little Miss Innocent and like was it Crime to Courtroom YouTube channel, the chap that went up there and watched it. And he said that she sat there all the time just giving one-word answers, whereas lawyers tend to sort of go deep into stuff and over-explain themselves. She was very controlled in her answers. She didn't give anything away because she's perfect. She doesn't have to explain herself. Did you do it? No, I didn't. It's very simple, you know. Look at me. I mean, she doesn't say that, but that's the idea. And she's probably got away with that all her life, from being mummy and daddy's good little girl to being ever such a good little girl at school. Little blonde girl going around with all the other good little blonde girls. And yeah, really, there's a lot of there's a lot sort of brewing within her. Yes. I still say it's
Then,
psychosexual. I can't help myself.
You don't see these things, and families don't want to admit these things. Right. So these folks often get into adulthood without being recognized as being psychopaths until they commit all the
Well, no, because what happens is, like I've just said, I don't think they were born it in this instance. I think it's a thing where she's always got away with stuff because she was such a good little girl. Like, come on, ladies, do you remember when you were at school? I mean, not to this level, but you know the good-looking girl could be a right bitch to you in the playground. The teachers would never think it was them. They'd always think it was you because you weren't the good-looking girl. They were good. Their parents were in with the teachers and they always smiled and, you know, they were the good little girls, in other words. But really, we all know in the playground they were right little bitches, but the teachers could never see it. It's that kind of syndrome, isn't it, really? So we'll wrap it up, really. Come on, Pat.
She was vanilla. All right. And she didn't seem the type that would do these terrible things.
No, but these are all things we've attributed. Society has attributed that to her. It just goes to show you all that glitters isn't gold, you know? To me, she's like the horrible, you know, when you open a box of chocolates. I'm not doing the Forrest Gump analogy, but it is like that. You put one in your mouth and because it looks lovely, and then you bite into it and it's a bleeding coffee cream. They're horrible. You know, she's like that, isn't she? She is. Let's have it right. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because Pat's boring me and I'm sure I'm boring you, but there's going to be more coming out about this Lucy Letby. But all the people are saying, well, there's nothing there. You couldn't have seen it. Actually, if you look hard enough, there was. So there we go. Bye-bye now.